What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with RK Outpost, and yesterday a video of Dave Filoni resurfaced. This is from him talking to a women's conference back in 2016 about female characters. And I saw a lot of people incredibly upset about this video, and I think it's because they see this person, Dave Filoni, who so many people feel like is the savior of Star Wars, one of the only people at Lucasfilm who's fighting against Kathleen Kennedy's radical agenda. Said something that people are like, wow, maybe I didn't know he felt this way. I didn't know that those were his feelings. We're going to show you the video. But first, I just wanted to say that I don't really understand why people are surprised about this. This information has been out there about Dave Filoni for a really long time. I have been talking about Dave Filoni for over 10 years because of the way I feel like he has treated fans and that he has treated Star Wars. So it was kind of ironic to me to see so many people going on board the, oh, I can't believe Dave Filoni's like this train. We're going to talk about the video. And the video that we saw yesterday talks about not only his thoughts and his political leanings, which, let's be fair, that a lot of people believe that in Hollywood. That doesn't mean it will affect your work. But also his reverence or lack thereof for fans, his respect or lack thereof for fans of the Star Wars franchise, because that's what I think is really important. And it did come from this is where I saw it. Ichibaka, Disney Star Wars is dumb. Dave Filoni mocked critics of Lucasfilm's Mary Sue trope. Dave Filoni speaks of the National Center for Women in Information Technology. My favorite part is when Filoni fabricates an argument with the fans so he can argue with points the fans never made in an effort to prove a political point that doesn't exist. It's a very common SJW habit, and it's always hilarious. Now, we will, like I said, we will get to this. We will let this play. But first, I just wanted to remind some of you about Dave Filoni's history. Now, the reason that I'm saying I've been talking about him for over 10 years is because when Star Wars The Clone Wars came out, there were a lot of things that didn't make sense with some of the previously established lore. One of the first things that happened, and I wish I could find video of this. I've searched all over. I can't. I saw it at one point, but that was 5 or 6 years ago. It may not be online anymore. But it was at a convention, and a fan approached Dave Filoni and asked him about Admiral Yularen, and proceeded to kind of school and correct Dave Filoni and show that they made a mistake when making the Clone Wars. Because what happened when they went to create this character, they went through the archives, found a character that Dave Filoni thought would be cool to put in this position, and they made him Admiral Yularen in the Clone Wars. Obviously, Admiral Yularen's in a ton of episodes. The problem is, he took this person and he assumed that they were a Grand Admiral because of the uniform that they were wearing. However, Wolf Yularen was in fact a colonel. It didn't make sense for someone to be an admiral in the Clone Wars, yet then a colonel 20 years later in the original trilogy. So they had to then retcon it. Because they were wrong, they had to retcon it. Dave Filoni got called out. They had to retcon Wolf Yularen into retiring, then coming back to a different service. It was a whole thing. It didn't make any sense. But that was when this all started, when Dave Filoni was called out by fans. And from then on, he seemed to have some sort of axe to grind against Star Wars Expanded Universe fans for a lot of different reasons. We could show a lot of different examples of that. Even when he tries to take credit, he says that him and George came up with something. When Katie Lucas, George's daughter, has to step in and say, well, actually, we got that from the EU.
With the cables shooting out and then the pieces flying of the battle droids and all that. That was from George?
Well, yeah. I mean, how he made the legs in the original version, it was that they scavenged battle droids that were laying around after the battle. And then I thought,
well, we actually, I hate to say this, I hate to bring it up, but we got those legs from the EU.
So not only did we have instances like that kind of reveal maybe his opinion towards some fans that kind of he didn't start off on the right foot with, I suppose. But it's not just that. I look at Dave Filoni and I see him as someone who isn't a protector of George's legacy. I see him as someone that wants to change a lot of things with George's legacy. The best instance is probably Ahsoka. We know that George Lucas wanted Ahsoka to die and that Filoni wanted her to live. He says so himself.
I don't think it's a mystery that I've always been a bit more in the Ahsoka lives camp. And George has been very full on in the Ahsoka dies camp. I think I've said that before, if not revelation for you.
And what happened when George sold Star Wars? Dave Filoni got his way. Ahsoka lives. And there's a lot of people that are really on board with that, but George Lucas wouldn't have been one of those people. Then you have some of the things that he's been involved with. And I know I'm talking a lot, but I have to set the stage for this because it matters when you hear this. This is not isolation. And I don't think that we should just take these words from 4 years ago and necessarily hold it against him because it's just this. But all it does is reveal the deeper problem with Filoni. Now, if you remember the Martez Sisters Arc in Season 7 of Clone Wars, that was not the way it was intended to be. I've made a video about this. It was originally supposed to be a male Asian love interest named Nix Okami for Ahsoka. That was who she was supposed to go through this entire adventure with. That's how it was when George was there at Lucasfilm when they wrote these stories. What happened? Dave Filoni changed it. Dave Filoni, and even all the actors and stuff said it was Dave Filoni. They are the ones who said Dave Filoni is the one that changed it to the Martez sisters. So you think about that, you think, okay, remove the Asian love interest, the male love interest for Ahsoka, get a couple women in there. The episodes 5 through 8 are all about kind of just female empowerment, I suppose. It's the best way to do it. Look what all these girls can do together, right? That's kind of what it got changed to. Then think about this. This is the art of Rise of Skywalker when they're talking about developing plans for the sequel trilogy. Yes, Dave Filoni was involved in these conversations with all the bigwigs at Lucasfilm. People forget about this, or people choose to ignore this, that Dave Filoni was involved in the sequel trilogy. Since these 3 films are a female-driven story, where's Leia in episodes 8 and 9? As Luke's twin, she would have the Force. Maybe she's that nurturing character. Dave Filoni. Oh, I love that. I love, too, that I look back down this table we're presided over by Padme, a picture of Padme on the wall. There's a powerful idea there about this matriarchy coming back and subverting what has always been dominantly patriarchal in male heroes. Zeus, Hercules, everything else. What happens when Kylo and what he does to his father is structurally not a redeemable act, but there's no coming back from that the way he does it. But I've never seen the mother figure try to do it. Maybe she could. Then John Knoll steps in and says, there's a super intriguing setup in Empire. That boy is our only hope. No, there is another. I felt cheated in Jedi that it didn't go anywhere, but maybe Yoda is talking about what happens with Leia 30 years in the future. Dave Filoni. I love that. We can shift it so Leia is the Obi-Wan of this entire trilogy. Yes, guys, that is where this came from. Listen to what he goes on to say. I don't even think that it hurts that she's not primarily the mentor figure in 7 because, like John had been saying, the audience's expectation is on Luke. When that proves not to be true, it's way more powerful. It's dangerous because it makes it so about the women of Star Wars. Something to me says that's right. Yes, guys, Dave Filoni is the one who comes up with the idea of subverting your expectations. Even though the audience thinks it's going to be Luke, wow, it'd be a lot better if it was Leia, right? It says it makes it about the women of Star Wars. There's something happening culturally. You look at birth, regeneration, the world itself needing healing. It's getting so I can't see it with the shine on the page. Let's switch it to this one. This is easy. There's something happening culturally. You look at birth, regeneration, the world itself needing healing. All those things are emblematic of the mother character in myth. They're all matriarchal things. Mother Earth itself, global warming, a hot topic. George was always so good at tapping into what's happening in culture, and he hits us with it. The idea that we have Leia, a mother character who needs healing in her own right, that's something we can get into in a deeper way. So yes, it was Dave Filoni behind the decision to make Luke Skywalker the background character, to make Leia the mentor, because that would subvert the audience's expectations. So, when we watch this video, just keep that in mind. It's not just about this video, and this is why it wasn't a surprise to me. Let's hear what Dave Filoni has to say.
For fans, this was a very different idea. The general public as a whole are going to look at that and say, why? And we just created this character, and there was this funny assumption by a lot of people, because the older fans are complaining, why is this, you're making it for kids. That's the funniest thing anybody ever says to me.
Now, just remember, he's talking about older Star Wars fans, so he's talking about Star Wars fans. Just think about what Kathleen Kennedy said. We don't want these 50-something Star Wars fans. Just remember that.
Making Star Wars for kids. I'm like, yeah. Okay. How old were you when you saw Star Wars? And they're, oh, the first time I saw Star Wars, I was 7 years old, and my dad took me, and I'm like, uh-huh. And you want to rob this experience from kids today, why? And make it all dark and sinister and evil? Okay, anyway.
Who is saying that they want dark, sinister, and evil? What fans? I would say that The Last Jedi was pretty dark. Is that what fans wanted to you, Dave? You're making these straw man arguments. You're trying to dismiss the concerns of fans. And that's the problem. That's why Dave Filoni fits in. That is why Dave Filoni fits in at Lucasfilm. He is not some person trying to go his own way, forge his own path. Dave Filoni is just like everyone else at Lucasfilm. That's why he's still there. Let's continue on. And just imagine people thinking that the original trilogy, that's what they're talking about. You think the original trilogy is dark or something? Dark and evil? Is that what you're saying? Dave Filoni makes no sense.
Back to Ahsoka. There's this assumption that young girls were going to like the character of Ahsoka. We relate that, right? Apples to apples. Of course, we make a young girl character, so all the young girls will like Ahsoka. It's almost to say, like, but what about the boys? You know, this absurd notion. So what we found was this amazing thing. It will shock none of you. That when you create a strong...
Again, he's talking to a group of women. That's what he's talking to. He's about women in information technology, something like that. It will shock none of you, but, you know, some people it really shocks. Talking about men, talking about male Star Wars fans. That's who you're talking about.
Independent, intelligent character that shows no fear, that can do amazing things, boys and girls like her. This is what we've tried to do with the Star Wars saga now. We've tried to create more female characters who can represent so many things, because what we're trying to do...
We have tried to create more female characters.
Isn't just create one type of character. We're trying to create a diverse range of characters, especially female characters that are strong, that are independent. When you look at Rey, on The Force Awakens, she's a female lead in a whole new chapter of the Star Wars saga. We haven't done a movie for 10 years, and here comes a Star Wars film, and here comes Rey. And what is it? Is it Panic in the Streets? Oh my gosh, a female lead in a Star Wars movie. And then the trailer for Rogue One comes out, and it's another female lead. Oh my gosh, how unfair.
Just listen to his voice, and this is one of the things that's always driven me crazy about Dave Filoni. He is such a smug bastard. Like, he just is. Simply put, that's how he talks. This is how he's talking about fans who are reacting to something. Fans who are concerned about something that they love.
We've had probably like 2 million straight film cinematic roles where men have been leads, and now we've done 2 in a row that are women. Well, too bad. Oh well. Maybe there are more coming. I don't know. This is this idea that, like, and I run into this sometimes when working with writers. It's like, well, we just made one of those. Made one of what? We just made a female lead. We can make another one.
He uses that all the time. I've listened to a lot of Dave Filoni over the years, and that's the tone he refers to when he's saying that someone is an idiot. That I know better than you. You're an idiot. Sit down. Shut up.
Really? Yes, we can. There's more than one woman in the world. There's more than one woman here in the world. Why is that so strange? If we made like 5 men heroes in a row, no one would blink. You know, Rey, she impresses Han Solo. He's like the guy's guy, impresses him, impresses everybody in the audience. She goes up with Kylo Ren, she punks him right away. Like, he's supposed to be this great guy, wiped out all these people. I don't know. She took that lightsaber and was like, I'm going to take you out. And she did, and I'm all for it. And she looks strong. It's not that she doesn't show any fear. She looks like this is an intense moment in her life, and we're there with her because of that, because she's a real feeling dimensional person. That's what we want, a real feeling dimensional person. We are trying to create...
Oh, so there you go. Again, like we said, Dave was not some bystander. He was not doing his own thing during the development of the sequel trilogy. You saw from what we just read that he was part of the development. I'd be interested to see how involved he was in developing Rey.
An environment where it's my hope that kind of just like Luke, all he did was open that door, right? He just opened that door, let Leia out, and she's went gangbusters. So I just want to be a part at Lucasfilm of opening this door to a new generation of filmmakers, of women that come into Lucasfilm and can be creative. It's a strong future for Star Wars. Our force for women characters, strong women characters, intelligent women characters of all description. it won't just stop with 2 movies. It's something we're dedicated to for the foreseeable future, because they're just great characters. Thank you so much.
There you go. So there you have it. Those are Dave Filoni's thoughts. And like I said, it's not... I don't think that it's some smoking gun. I don't think it's like the worst thing he's ever said. But I think that it does reveal how he feels about fans and about how he feels about Star Wars and his vision for Star Wars. Like I said, this is not the first time we read this passage. What he, like, how involved he was in the sequel trilogy and in pushing Luke to the back burner, right? We've talked about how he replaced the Asian male love interest in favor of a girl power story. This is not isolated incident with Dave Filoni, and it's not just about his political or social leanings or anything like that. It's about his respect for fans and his respect for George Lucas. It's something I've been talking about for a long time. People like myself, Lethal Lightning, OG Star Wars, a lot of people have kind of seen through this from the beginning. It's interesting to see everyone else is suddenly starting to open their eyes, I guess, to like the person who Dave Filoni is. I think Dave Filoni is a good storyteller. I don't think he's a fantastic storyteller. I think he's a good storyteller. And although I disagree with some of the direction of things, I do think that Dave Filoni is good when in regards to everyone else that has been making shit at Lucasfilm. I think he's good. However, the idea that he doesn't have some kind of agenda, the idea that he doesn't believe exactly the same stuff that Kathleen Kennedy believes, you're lying to yourself if you believe that. There's a reason that he is still there. It's because he thinks just like them. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I will talk to you later. Thanks for watching, everyone, and a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. box and my Patreon as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.